Don't let sticker shock scare you away from items, especially items in the case at thrift stores. These seem to be overpriced, which they kind of were, but there was still meat left on the bones. We'll get back to those in a second. But if you missed part one, this is the second half of day one of my thrifting road trip. I took the SS Badger from Michigan to Wisconsin and then drove 1,400 miles thrifting all around Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and part of Michigan. The first stop on today's video, I am in Two Rivers, Wisconsin, and that navel jelly was only $1. I just sold some of that in August, so that was a definite pickup. And I remember these comforters, me and my sisters, that was like the comforters in all three of our bedrooms. I'm pretty sure that was a JCPenney special. This store was pretty big, and then at checkout, the cashier let me know that it was their Apple Festival this weekend, and they have a basement. And during the Apple Festival, they open up the basement, and it's wall-to-wall Christmas stuff. Now, I had planned on coming back because I was going to take the ferry back to Michigan, but instead I drove back home, so I didn't make it back for the basement full of Christmas items, which I had planned to. But I still make out really, really good on this trip, so make sure you guys stick around and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. This trip will probably be another 2 to 3 videos, and I'm taking off for another thrifting trip next week. And then in November, my husband and I are hitting the road, and I will be on another thrifting adventure out of state. So if you're curious to see what thrift stores in other states have or what their pricing is like, definitely hit the subscribe button. I will have a lot of that content coming up. Now, at first I was going to go down that other aisle. I looked back and I saw that this is where they have their beauty products. And as you guys know, that is like my favorite thing to sell. I look all of this stuff up. People always ask, how do you know what's discontinued? And I don't. I look items up, and if they're selling, I buy them. Now, I do some research ahead of time, and I do know some products off the top of my head, but there are millions of products out there, so if I've never seen it before, or if it looks a little bit older, I look it up. I always look things up, and it doesn't matter what brand it is. Drugstore brands can sell for more than Dior or Chanel, so I look everything up. I am on a baby blanket kick right now. Crib blankets, baby blankets, I am buying them like crazy. They sell really well, and they seem to be a hot commodity right now. Now, going back to that case, these are the 2 items that I have my eye on. I recognize that Liz Claiborne perfume right away, but the other item, I did have to comp that. There aren't very many of these listed, but there is one that has sold. So I'm definitely picking up both of these items, plus a few more items from this store. At checkout, the cashier asked me about my camera, so I told her what I did, and I think that might be why I got a discount. Okay, I don't know what kind of discounts were going on, but my total was only $62.25, and I asked the cashier, and it was correct. So I'm gonna assume everything was half off. The next stop, I went to the bins, and I set my timer for 30 minutes because it looked like a bunch of junk, and it was. And no, I do not wear gloves when I go to the bins. Some items might look like junk, but when you pick them up, you touch them, you realize they're made of quality materials. Now, a few years ago, I did cut myself at the bins, and then after that, I wore gloves for a while, and now that fear has left my brain, so I go gloveless. Okay, guys, we spent 33 cents. Oops, I got this body splash and this Avon eye makeup remover. I think I sell these for like 12. This looks like it'll sell for like 30 over on Mercari. Oh my gosh, is this gonna open? There we go. And then I got myself some hand sanitizer. Mine is buried and I need to put some on. So we'll organize this tonight. But this is what we're looking like. It's looking really good. We've been doing really good today. So let's go to the next stop. Now, if you're just tuning in, I mentioned this in my last video. This is a new camera for me, and I'm trying to figure out an angle that works for me. And this one just is not it. It records the ceiling. The camera's pointing up. I have it on like a lanyard around my neck, and I have now learned that I have to wear it on my hat to give a better point of view. So after all of my Wisconsin videos, my point of view videos will be much, much better. I am at a Salvation Army, and the Salvation Armies in Wisconsin are out of their minds. These small little bags of Legos are $45 a piece. And I mentioned this on my Facebook. It looks like they do a lot of great things for their community, so at least their high prices are actually going to help the people who live in the area. But I really had to hunt to find stuff, and a lot of these stores, I'm only walking out with 1 or 2 items. Now, I found a set of these in my last video. I didn't pick them up because they were falling apart, and I don't like to buy these when the sponge is disintegrating. And you guys can't tell by the angle, but I pull one of these out, rub my finger against it, and it just falls into pieces. So I'm putting this back. I'm not going to pick this up. Now, right underneath it, I do pick up these 2 breastfeeding accessories. They're both brand new in the box, and it looks like if I put them together, I can sell them for $30, and they are priced at $3.95 a piece. But at this point, with their price points at this store and in the area, I will take whatever decent profit I can get. I am leaving like the 2 Rivers area, and I'm working my way towards Madison. And it seems like the further I get from Green Bay and Appleton, the higher the prices get. When there's a lot of products like this, what I do is I sort through and I put the items to the side that I know aren't going to sell. So basically any like cheaper brand, which is crazy because I grabbed this Pantene Pro V, and I will look that up. I do buy it. It sells for somewhere around $25 to $45. The comps were all over the place. Even the currently listed, they're listed from anywhere from $45 to $100. None have sold in the last 90 days, but I used the eBay research tool, and a few have sold in the last 2 years. So I'm definitely going to pick it up. I'll probably just price it lower than everybody else's, because if none have sold in the last 90 days, it's because it's priced too high. This Pantene item, I can tell it's pretty new just by looking at the packaging, so I don't even bother with it. And it might have been mostly empty. Some stuff I won't pick up if it's mostly empty. The older Bath & Body Works labels, I always grab that stuff. With this bottle being priced under $2, I will put it up on Mercari for around $25 plus shipping. Got2b is another brand that I really don't know much about, so I always look it up just in case. They do have a couple of products that sell really well from that line. And be really careful with anything that contains SPF. It does go bad and it will have an expiration date. You can't sell any health and beauty items on eBay that are past their printed expiration date. I stood here way too long thinking whether or not I wanted to purchase these. So all of these colognes were under the price of $2. Now, when I checked what has sold in the last 90 days, as you can see, those 3 solds don't match up exactly. The bottles look just a little bit different. So then I use the eBay research tool, which goes back 3 years, and I'm able to see in February 1 bottle that isn't even new sold for almost $26. So I go ahead and I look through this rack and I buy all of these colognes that they have. It's actually aftershave. And then I'm just showing you guys the crazy prices. These are some Sonoma shoes. I thought you could see the price. You couldn't. They were $24.99. I had sticker shock at some of these thrift stores. I think these were a pair of Dexter shoes. They were priced at $20. So I'm like, okay, let me check the price on some nice leather shoes. I was looking for Allen Edmonds. I've noticed that in my Whatnot shows, my Allen Edmonds sell for pretty good money, and so do boots. So I'm looking for boots, but not at this price point, especially for these brands. These aren't even anything special. These Merrells looked really nice, but once I grabbed this shoe, look inside, they wanted $30 for these. I don't remember the last time I've seen something priced for $30 at my thrift store. These cowboy boots, $34.99, and they weren't even like a nice pair. I was getting a little nervous at this point, but the thrift stores can't catch everything, so I figure I'm just gonna keep on going, keep looking for good stuff. The store I was just at wanted triple the price for that same exact item. I had already comped it at the store, so I knew that, you know, it wasn't selling for a ton of money, but I could make a little bit of profit with it priced the way it was at this store, but it was broken. I always take a fast stroll down the plastic cup aisle. I am looking for Starbucks cups. There are still a few that sell for really good money, and Chuck E. Cheese cups, anything that looks vintage or anything with characters on it. I'm pretty sure at this point I have not left a thrift store without buying at least 2 items. So even though the prices are high, I still have been able to find some things that the thrift store didn't know to price high. When it comes to plush, I'm so bad about digging through and looking for good plush. I probably should, but that is definitely the one part of the thrift store that I just prefer to skip over. And I shouldn't, because I have made really good money from plush over the years. But I basically look to see what is laying right in front of me. I don't move anything, I don't dig through, and if nothing catches my eye, I just keep it moving. And I kind of eyeball those noodles for a hot second. Again, if you're just tuning in, I made all of my food for my trip. I bought no food. I spent $62 on groceries, and I meal prepped all of my dinners, all of my snacks, and my lunches for this trip. I left the house at 5 a.m. on Monday, and I didn't get home until 3 p.m. on Saturday. So 6 days worth of meals for $60, and I didn't even eat everything that I packed. I definitely overpacked. I saved myself a lot of money by doing that, which in turn helped me boost my profits for this trip. And that was my main worry, is that I was spending so much between hotel rooms and my ticket to get across Lake Michigan that I was looking for a way to cut costs somehow. I did end up buying an Alani one day because I didn't clean out my coffee cup, a milkshake from Culver's for lunch, and then I also bought a Starbucks when I decided I was just going to call it a day and drive home, because I was a little bit sleepy. I wish I knew what I was looking up right here, but I don't. And you guys, don't be afraid to take your phone out at estate sales, garage sales, thrift stores. Take your phone out, look things up. If you don't, that's how you end up buying items that really aren't selling, or you miss out on items that you should be buying and you're not learning. If I walk out of a store and I look up 30 items and I don't buy any of them, I still learn something for the day, and the next time I'm out thrifting or at an estate sale, I know not to look those items up. I can just walk right past them, saving myself time in the future. Hair tools is something I recommend you researching before you go to the thrift stores. There aren't very many that are worth picking up to resell. So with hair tools, I don't look too many of them up because I've done extensive research beforehand. On this entire trip, I pick up one curling iron that is worth reselling, and I probably looked at hundreds of hair tools. When I turn this corner, I'm so happy to see some beauty products, especially perfumes. I always check the bottom to get some more information, like how many ounces it is, who the maker is, and this is the comp that I found, even though you guys cannot see my phone because of my wonderful recording skills. This just shows if you want to start making content, you don't have to be a professional, you don't have to be perfect every time, and you definitely don't have to know what you're doing. Just start doing it. That perfume was only priced at $1.75, and then I picked this one up right here, and again, I'm checking the bottom. The bottom has so much information. Sometimes it's really small and hard to read though. But if you're not too sure how many ounces the bottle is or who the maker of that specific perfume is, check the bottom, it will tell you. Now that perfume was priced at $3.95, and I'm gonna go ahead and comp it. Again, you guys can't see, but it does sell for $40, so I go ahead and grab that perfume as well. Okay, this is all we got at this stop, but we have plenty more stops to go. We came here because they close at 6. So now we're gonna go to the stores that close at 7. The prices at this thrift store ended up being pretty high as well, and I feel like it's just because it's the area. So in my area, like a Marmont coat might slide through and just get priced at the regular thrift store price. But over here, those are items that these people know. It's a really cold state. I mean, obviously Michigan is cold, but I feel like those brands aren't as well known in my area as obviously they are here in Wisconsin. I did grab a lot more, but I call it a day and I go eat my leftovers from yesterday and list a few items in my hotel room. So just for a reference, this is what the back of my rental truck looked like when I left on day 1, and this is what it was looking like when I pulled back into my driveway on Saturday. As you can tell by that shot of the back of this little SUV, I found so much stuff on this trip. It was a great trip. I'm already in the profit on this trip. I did not show you guys a lot of the clothing that I picked up. Even on this first day, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there is some clothing in the back of the truck and I did not show any of it to you guys. So before I left, I held 2 whatnot shows. If you guys remember, I had claimed I was going to start this 3rd eBay store, which I did. It was nothing but clothing. I was gonna see if I could create a successful, strictly clothing eBay store or account just off of $200. And I was doing great at first. I was selling so much stuff. Not so much stuff, but considering, I only started with $200, I didn't have a ton of listings. Watch it, Frankie. I was having consistent sales. Well, opening that 3rd account and selling clothing made me realize how much I hate listing clothing on eBay. So I decided to just sell it all off before this trip on Whatnot. So I held 2 Whatnot shows. And in those 2 shows, I made about $1,800 to $1,900. And I used I used all of that money on this trip. I spent every last dime that I made. And I realized how much I like Whatnot. So now I am hosting Whatnot shows every single Monday night at 8 p.m. But while I was recording, I was like on the fence. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it, even though those 2 sales went really good. I made a nice chunk of change again. Now I wish I would have recorded myself picking up all of the clothes. I do record some of it. You guys will see some of my pickups on, I think it's like either day 3 or day 4. I pick up a ton of Christmas sweaters. And those all did really, really good on Whatnot. So I will be throwing in some Whatnot content for you guys. Tomorrow I am picking up 2 bales of unsorted clothing. They weigh between, I think it's 70 and 125 pounds a bale. So I could possibly have 200 pounds or more of clothing tomorrow. So I am going to record that whole process for you guys. I'm going to cut open the bales with you guys and I'll show you everything that I find. Obviously, there's going to be some junk in there too. So we're going to see if it is worth it. So I will be having Whatnot content mixed in with my eBay content going forward. I'm just going to ride this out and, like everything else, give it 3 months, see if it works for me, see if I like it, see if it's worth my time, And if it is, I'll stick with it. If it isn't, I'll go ahead and drop it. But I have a feeling that this is gonna work out. Hey guys, but Frankie is sitting next to me crying. I'm assuming she has to go out. So I'm gonna cut this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you guys on my next video in a couple of days.